hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now, morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears.
Okay, that's enough. How'd you like it? I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, good morning, everybody. I'm still getting ready, but I thought that was pretty awesome. And I've got to hold on one second. Remind me at 1 p.m. to text Dave the opening. My buddy had mentioned he's a marketer, and I usually do not include my my friends in my podcast and stuff. So, but he had he's got a digital marketing agency, and he said he tuned into the live one day, and he said, "Boy, that just looks really unprofessional." So I worked on this last night, and I'm gonna make, just so you're aware, and the YouTube experience is gonna be a little bit better over the next, I'd say 2 weeks, a month. It was awesome. That screen will change every now and then, but in fact, when I leave, I'll probably put that on as well, just in case somebody wants to chat and stuff like that. So, Larry. Plus, it gets people, time to add in, and it lets me get set up so that you guys don't have to deal with me, kind of going through everything that I go through, which is monetizing and doing all the back end stuff. So let me just make sure that the pricing with Trendspider, they sometimes just put a sale in. Nope. And they change the prices, but initial job claims came in lighter than expected. So, I mean, the indexes look like they're up. Got a lot of good stuff, including I had a great conversation with Fidelity yesterday. If you do not have a broker who has a financial advisor that's available to you and assigned to you, and you don't have a relationship with them, come on. Come on. Come on. But I thought that was great. And I'm checking, I'm looking at my Webull account because IBIT is down. And I don't understand. This is one of the things that I wanted. Starting. It's only been a little bit of time, but Bitcoin. No, Patty, no. In fact, no. So I have had Stuart, and he's the best. And if you want an introduction to Stuart, he will never sell you anything. He will never do anything to guide you. In fact, he's super careful about not selling you things. And even we went over yesterday, bond funds, and he said, hey, I'm going to show you Fidelity bond funds, but just so you know, there's a ton of them out there. You're experienced. You can kind of do this yourself, blah, blah, blah. So they don't sell you a thing. Okay, so it is tracking, but it's underperforming Bitcoin itself. But it does seem to be tracking for the most part. And then what I got to do is I do like a theme song. This one, yeah, this one's tracking. Here, and this is what, maybe I'll put this. Yeah. This is probably better. Me this down with AJ. Couldn't get Bitcoin. Changed. Put that one in. No, Fidelity won't sell you anything. I mean, Fidelity's so good. I mean, they really are. And Stuart, if you want an introduction, just email me and I'll send you over to Stuart. But they don't. The financial advisor, you need to have a relationship. And again, I do it about once a quarter or so, maybe twice a year. But it's a relationship that you have to have, because as you build that relationship, and they don't charge me a thing and they won't charge you a thing either. But as you build that relationship with either his team or him himself, Stuart himself gets to me. I don't know if that's because I'm a high net worth individual, but I'm not high net worth enough that I get like a team of people assigned to me. It's just Stuart. And so I meet with Stuart once every now and then. And he's like, okay, here's your account. Here's some ideas. And specifically, STUART. But specifically, for me, and I will tell you, I did not, and this is full disclosure, I feel very uncomfortable talking about this, and it's part of the reason why I haven't released the money part of the podcast. But I've made more money than I expected in this podcast, and it's not, I think I mentioned it. I think through July, it's like 50,000, and it's a lot of money, and it's way more money than I ever thought I would make on this, and it wasn't in my plan, and I talk about plans all the time. You guys know I have a plan, and the plan was to live off this money that I had invested and I had made money on, and blah, 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 and to live a quote unquote low income life, because I could take money out and not pay taxes, and or be more efficient in taxes, I should say. It's not paying taxes, it's being more efficient in taxes. And I had this plan. Well, making the money off the podcast wasn't in the plan. So I'm appreciative of it. It's a good position to be in. But one of the things I need to understand is I've never worked for myself. And now the podcast is me working for myself. And I've got an opportunity to kind of be a little bit more tax efficient with that amount of money, where I can actually set up a 401k for the podcast. And so that's what the discussion was about yesterday. And then we went into, hey, here's a couple of ideas. One of the ideas that he gave me, and this is a good one for everybody, is you can sell cash covered puts on some of the indexes, and maybe buy, since we're at all-time highs, he said that probably makes sense, sell some covered call puts, and you might get called on those puts and have to buy, say QQQ at 460 or something, or 455. You want to put it at the support level that we have. So, but he said that's a good way of trying to maybe position it, collect the premium, and see what happens. So again, the idea is, hey, have a relationship with your financial advisor, and they will propose, things you might not have thought of before. So, and I told him, and I tell everybody, options just scare me, because I know my gambling nature. The second I win on an option, we're going 0 DTE. And I know that about myself. So you have to know yourself, know your limitations, and but they can absolutely help. So Patty, do not think that they're going to sell you anything, because I honestly think that it's one of the best relationships that I have with money person. In fact, I do my own taxes. That may change. And I'm very kind of ambivalent about it, but crypto, RKA. This is interesting. I guess, no. That's an interesting one. I got to do more, add more Bitcoin and crypto stuff to that. Dead Milkman. I wasn't into the Dead Milkman. That was a little less pop punk. Yeah, Chris, you're like me, and you're retired, so, hey. Money is out there to be made. It's just about, and that was one of the discussions with Stuart yesterday. Is that, I don't know. Yeah. But Chris, you and I have probably similar risk tolerance. I think you're a little bit more risk tolerant than I am. But we both have similar risk tolerances, and with that ability, we know, at least I do, our limitations. And I told Stuart, man, I sit on that Webull app and I will trade while I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm perfectly happy doing that rather than sports betting, which I was losing money on. We don't have too many on the scans today. You guys see me working here. There's not too many. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Next, RSA. AT&T was interesting. You know, here's an AT&T one. This is an interesting stock because you can see, and we'll look at this one in particular. The reason I want to look at this one is because it's an interesting play against reducing interest rates. Now, the algorithm over 2 years loses you 1%. You make 6% by investing in this. We look at a weekly, and we always talk about kind of the falling knife here, upper left to bottom right. But this has crossed the 200-day here. The last time it did that was 2019. It didn't hold it, and I still think that this is upper left to bottom right. But what's interesting about this one, when you look at the monthly, is that we're just kind of hitting that 50-day. And is the 50-day going to continue to move downward, or is this now a sideways stock that may come up to the 200-day at 23? And the reason I say that is because they have like a 5% forward yielding dividend. And so you can see over 1 year on AT&T, you're up 38% in 1 year. And the dividend is part of the reason. Now, let's look at the dividend here. Dividend forward is 5.68. That's more than you're going to get in a reduced rate environment. So it's an interesting play against that where, hey, these dividends like AT&T and Verizon, as they come down, are these kind of come up. Now, the dividend safety score is a D+. That's the assumption that AT&T is going to remove their dividend. The yield is an A-. I mean, it's an A-. Consistency, C+. So you can look at dividend history. Dividend history, they've lowered it. We can look at a 10-year history. They haven't lowered it too much, but they have lowered it. Consecutive years of dividend payments, 27 years. Consecutive years of dividend growth, 0 years. So they were growing it here slightly. I mean, this is still 39 cents, I guess. Yeah, it just looks like it's growing slightly. But definitely an interesting one to look at. You know what? Bring that up. This turned a corner. I don't think so, because I still think that it's a race to the bottom as far as these big companies are. Okay. Let's see if there's anything on FinViz that kind of catches my eye. Nerdy, Coupang, SRPT, Schwab. That's an interesting sell on Schwab. See remarks. Yeah, they don't give you a proposed sale. Okay. Proposed sale. And Schwab in the pre-market. See if there's any out there. There it is. That's what it is. Okay. This is the news that it came out. Yeah. Okay. Gonna bring it down. Yep. 62.51. Yep. Okay. This is an interesting one right here. Queen 65. Okay. Yeah, my stream looks pretty good, by the way. Pretty smooth. Don't like that. Yeah, you know. I like that you can see. See what I here. There we go. Okay. My camera wasn't going all the way. My camera, the screen was cutting off, and I'll just do that when I go to Trendspider. And sorry, I'm setting this up. I know I put up the countdown, but nobody's talking. So, let's start out with the Qs, and we've got Snowflake to talk about. I'm obviously going to talk about this, which is the IBIT chart that I just did, which does Mara, and we'll talk about this video, which I thought is interesting.
This is Duolingo.
It is Duolingo from the Wall Street Journal. And we had a question from Chris about it. So I'll do that one. This was crazy as Grimace Coin, if anybody saw this one. McDonald's, their Twitter was hacked, and they pumped up Grimace Coin unbelievably to make $700,000. We'll talk about Snowflake, the one that you just saw me go over, which is home on this. Schwab one. And then we're 1 week away from NVIDIA earnings, and this is Jensen, just being Jensen. Just being Jensen. I mean, There's no way. Oh, was it? I don't watch the whole thing back. Oh, it is cutting out a little bit. Output stream. That down. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's a little bit better. I see on mine, and I noticed before, I noticed before that I was freezing up a little. I reduced the bit rate. It shouldn't matter. Again, I think I'm going to get better as I'm going to get a new monitor. If anybody has any suggestions on curved monitors that I could use with my laptop until the Mac Minis go on sale, let me know. Because I'd like it. Because this one's getting a little bit slow in the tooth for this one. This was a great Dan Niles went on. This was great. XLU has gone nuts. Like we talked about at the beginning of the year, that I thought XLU was going to be really good. S&P, NASDAQ higher after Fed minutes. That's exactly what came out yesterday. What did it? After a jobs revision number. I'm going to talk about this one. That quote. I will talk about this bond fund. Joe, Mara, I think Mara changed, and we'll go over Mara in a little bit. I love those the strategies, and Joe's a perfect example, man. You could literally spend all day. My girlfriend's listening while she's at the doctor's office, and she's like, you cut the intro. She got to sit there for about 40 minutes last night of us rocking out to Tune In Daily, don't miss a single show. And yeah, that song lives in my head, as I'm sure it does with some folks. Roblox is down. Looks like the market's doing pretty well. But Joe, send it over to me. Email me on Facebook, whatever. You've got my stuff, so email me. Okay. Oh, getting psyched up. Because I'll use FinViz as. Because you can find a lot on FinViz. FinViz is a great tool. I mean, for years, I had FinViz instead of Seeking Alpha. So, Mike, shoot me an email with which one you got. Because Samsung does really, really good with curved monitors. I'm not a Samsung guy, but they have really good monitors. Now, I'm not sure I want a 32-inch. I've been looking at the 49-inch ones. And the only reason is because, okay, so the iMac that I have is 27 inches. It's still not big enough for me. And I know the curved monitors are a little bit thinner. And so I need that real estate on the wideness so that the charts and everything are in front of me. And that's kind of where I'm kind of iffy about, okay, I'm not sure which one I want. And the plan is to get a Mac Mini, like you have, Mike. But until the Mac Minis come out, an M4 chip might get released on the Mac Mini, which means the prices will come down. And I'll use my MacBook Pro, which it has significantly more power than this iMac. And so I use my MacBook Pro with the external monitor, where I can kind of broadcast a little bit better. Because I don't like doing the show, on the road. It's hard to do the show on the road. Thanksgiving's coming up. I'll be in New Jersey, so I'll be doing the show off my laptop. But if I can just get a cheap monitor, maybe I'll get that as well. But I'll see how that works, because the Mac Mini will live here in Atlanta. Oh, you've got separate monitors over giant curved ones. Oh, you got 3 32-inch curved monitors? So what do you have, like a half circle around you, Chris? That's kind of a cool idea. But God, I think my MacBook will only do 2 externals at most, and that's why I was going to do the curved. I don't think I need all that. No, I don't think I need all that. I don't do enough that... shit, half my stuff is done on my laptop. This is the only thing that I really do that absolutely needs a big screen, the live stream, to make it better, I should say, just not to be great. Yes, Mark. So here's the strategy that I've said many, many times. Netflix hit 700. It is a resistance level because it's already at 688. If you've got significant gains in Netflix, it's time to trim up to 20%. Okay, take a profit in Netflix. Then what you do is if we hold over 700, you buy at 710. But the valuation is a little bit nuts. Yeah, Chris is a programmer. That makes total sense. Yeah. Total sense. If you're a programmer, most of the programmers that I know did the code on the vertical monitor, and then they had their separate monitor for all their other stuff. But coding wise, yeah. But yes, Mark, I think Netflix, this is what I told my dad is we're going to wait a day because it hit yesterday, I think, or I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going to wait a day. So today is probably the day that we'll be looking to take some profits on Netflix. He's got a long-term Netflix position that's up, God, I want to say 400% or 500% at this point. Chris, you spend more time at that damn computer than I do. I thought I did a lot. Okay, let me start up. I'll look at your chats afterwards, but I'm going to start up. We're going to start out with QQQ. Well, I'll go over in the thing. I should start. Man, I should start the music again. No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to record. Okay. Good morning. It is Thursday, August 22nd. For anybody who wants to watch the live version, I've started with a countdown. I feel like kind of a big shot now. I've got the whitened teeth. You can see the teeth on the screen if you're watching. I've gotten the whitened teeth, and we're still in the process of whitening. So if I'm grumpy this morning, that's the reason. And if I've been grumpy for the past week, that is the reason. So if I've responded to you and you've taken offense, I blame the lack of sleep. You got to sleep with these damn trays in your mouth. And yes, I look gorgeous. Yes, this is the moneymaker, folks. This is the moneymaker. This is what makes me that money. But I haven't slept well, so I took a sleeping pill last night. So I'm a little charged up this morning, not completely charged up. But it is what it is. But I did start the opening with the music. Yes, that song lives in my head as well, just as well as it lives in everybody's head. When I first put that out on the podcast, everybody was like, oh my God, tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Oh, it lives in my head. Yes, it lives in my head as well. talk about jobless numbers. Yesterday, we talked about how jobless numbers and jobs numbers are going to be the key to this. The Fed minutes came out yesterday. Jobless claims came out this morning. They're light, less than expected, continuing claims highest since 2021. It's a constant, hey, we've got good news and we're going to lower rates in September. Now, be careful, because historically, the reaction to lowering rates is not great over like the next month or so. But over time, and I'll read this stat to you as I go through my notes and stuff, but we were up yesterday. We're up in pre-market about 0.41. You can see the green candles. Where are we on the MACD? The MACD is turning over. The RSI completely oversold at 68%. What I want to point out to you is if you traded my 4-hour algorithm over the last 2 years, you had 21 positions in QQQ. You're currently in one. And I want to show you the great timing of this, okay? Remember during this time when we were going down, the algorithm was about even with buy and hold. Right now, you're making 56.6% return, and that is based on this current 10% move that you're seeing. But if you bought and held 2 years ago, you make 45%. What's my point? My point is we all have different risk tolerances. If you have a huge risk tolerance and you're able to add to it, just add when you want to, when the algorithm tells you to. Again, it takes emotion out of this, and it's back tested. So you can be sure that, hey, I'm getting a decent buy-in here. Even at 446, I wasn't 100% sure. I thought we were still going down. The news was bad. It was under the 50-day. The past couple of times we've been under the 50-day, it's been a good buy. I didn't believe it. But in my 4-hour algorithm, you've got to take emotion out of this, and it's a good way to dollar cost average your way into QQQ with some amount of safety. Again, past performance doesn't predict future performance, but it's a good way to add to something where /maybe you just sleep at night, and that's the key. You want my 4-hour algorithm, you can get it by going to Linktree, linktr.ee/dailystockpick. It will take you over to Trendspider, that top link. And then click on this, and here's the pricing. $53 a month. $53 a month. You can get my algorithm. And again, I point back to 2 years back-tested results. You're currently in a great run on this one. Yes, the MACD is up there. The algorithm doesn't have you out. Yes, the RSI is extended. Would I get out of this if I was selling? Absolutely freaking not. Because the algorithm tells me not to. I've talked about my trades in the past month or so. I've tried to time the algorithm with CrowdStrike. Didn't do well. I tried to time the algorithm with IWM. Didn't do well. Tried to time the bottom with Target. Didn't do well. So again, this is part of the process. Is I make mistakes just as much as anybody else. But I'm learning more and more that this is the way that I want to trade. So if you want to trade, sign up for Trendspider. It's a great one. Again, I had a great discussion with Fidelity yesterday. If you do not have a financial advisor and a relationship with one, message me. I'll hook you up with Stuart at Fidelity. He's great. And again, Fidelity provides you a financial advisor. Get one, establish a relationship. It's not just because I'm a high net worth individual. We talked about bonds yesterday because I told him about Bill, my discussion with Bill. If you listen to my podcast every day, you know my discussion with Bill, this 30-year bond trader that I got on the phone with the fixed income guy. And Stuart told me all their fixed income people are significantly experienced because you need to be in fixed income. When you take a financial advisor course and you take the registration, it's probably like 400 pages. I would say 399 is based on fixed income and bonds. 1 page is based on equities. That's it. So one thing we talked about is ETF investing and how my returns may make it sense to get out of even QQQ sectors may make more sense. And we talked about bond funds and specifically this FNBGX. And this is the long-term bond fund. And what he pointed out to me was this is what's interesting. And again, this chart shows it to you. So the chart, this is FNBGX. It's Fidelity's long-term bond. So it's a 20-year. So when you look at the duration of the bonds in the portfolio, it's 15.27%. So if for some reason we have a rate reduction, look at during 2019, all the way up to 2020 when the rates were actually being cut. The bond fund went up, okay? That was when the bond fund went up. When did the bond fund actually come down? As we started to see the likelihood of rates being raised. And when you see this big drop from 2022 down to 2024, that's the rate being dropped. Now, obviously, bonds don't react per se exactly, but their duration can be a kind of guide for you. And am I doing this? Probably not. It doesn't fit my profile. But what you want to look at is duration. And I can go into this with just, again, I'm a douche on the internet who heard this. I may be interpreting this completely wrong because I am not a bond guy. But if the duration is 15 years and the Fed cuts by 1%, a full point, they won't do that. Aggressive is going to be a half a point or a quarter point. But if we have 3/4 points, that's 0.75. Your duration, if they cut a full point, your duration is the guide where the actual value of the bond fund will go up by 15%. You can use that as a general guide, okay? Use it as a general guide. And he was saying that he was telling me, hey, long-term bonds are where you want to be. And I've heard that before. Am I doing it? Probably not. Probably not, but it's a great exercise to have with a financial advisor. And that's what I want to point out is have a financial advisor because they can look at your portfolio. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a douche on the internet. I'm a guy that helps you pick stocks. I'm not a financial advisor. You can't come to me and say, hey, what should I do with my portfolio? I will tell you, I have no clue what you should do with your portfolio. I don't know your risk tolerance. I don't know your age. I don't know your timeline. I don't know anything about your income. Again, I just don't know. That's why you want to establish a relationship with a financial advisor. It helps. You don't need to pay for one. Fidelity provides one for you. So again, have this relationship, establish it, get it. They're not going to sell you anything. And if they do try and sell you something, they're not a good financial advisor. That's the point. If you can establish one with somebody that can charge you, 1% of your portfolio and stuff like that to manage stuff. But, I manage my own portfolio. Stuart just gives me some guidance, and it's a great, great relationship. Now, we talked about things going up and down and, where are we in this? I'm waiting for a pullback. You can wait for a pullback. Here's some numbers from Christos. I think that's how you sell it. Christos V. From Substack. And my weekly stock pick, he had mentioned this, so I put it out there as well. And I think this is a great stat. 94% of the years, the S&P corrects 5%. 64% of the years, the S&P corrects 10%, okay? So 64% of the time, we have at least one time where you're down 10%. 5 to 10% corrections are normally in healthy markets that continue higher over time. If you're lucky enough to see 15 or 20% corrections, it's an even better opportunity to take advantage of allowing you to increase and your compounded returns even more over time. What does that mean? That's buy the dip. That is buy the dip, okay? That's what the algorithm tries to do. It tries to buy the dip. Does it get it right 100% of the time? No, it gets it right 48% of the time, okay? 52% of the time in QQQ, you lose. But the average win is 7.81%. The average loss is 2.52 for 2.59. If you just dollar cost average and buy this each time it tells you to buy it, say you have $10,000 and you just put $1,000 in each time that the Qs tells you to buy it, more than likely you're compounding your returns. Again, you're compounding your returns. That's the key. That's the key. So, I heard a stat, and I'm going to go and look at this up in Seeking Alpha, but I heard a stat, and it's about the VIX, and it's about the volatility that we've seen in the VIX. When the VIX spikes like what we saw, and we'll look at a 5-day of the, a 1 month. A 1 month, because when the VIX spikes the way we saw it, and you can look at that 1 year and you can see exactly where we saw. When the VIX spikes, you rally afterwards. With an average return by the next summer, the S&P will be up a certain amount. Now, I didn't write down the certain amount, But this particular advisor said, hey, the S&P will be up at 6,000. 6,000. That means SPY will be at 600, okay? Because SPY tracks the S&P by 10. And it's exactly. VOO does not. I suggest you buy VOO for the long term, not SPY. SPY is more for options. It beats it by minimal amount of points. So check your fees, check everything else. But I predict that we're at 560. Okay, so that's like an 8% move, 7% move. If you were to take the mean average of these rallies, it puts you at 6,300 on the S&P, which would be 630, which makes you move 90 points, which is almost 20%. Do you want to buy now? Well, the RSI is really high up there at 69, almost 70. The MACD super stretched. We've had this crazy, crazy move since we had that Japan unwind trade just 2 weeks ago. I don't think it's time to load back in. If you're dollar cost averaging and you buy every Thursday or Friday, continue to buy every Thursday or Friday, even on SPY. Say you're doing options on SPY. Don't do 0-day DTE options, but you're doing long-dated options. My algorithm on SPY, just so you're aware, in Trendspider, 39.1%. What do you get when you backtest it for 24 months? You get 30%. That's a pretty good return, again, for just buying SPY. So it was a crazy, crazy day yesterday with a revision in jobs numbers. The market got taken down. But when the Fed minutes came out, and it showed that most likely that we're going to cut in September, I think September's priced into the market, and any move that says, hey, they're going to cut into a recession is going to bring the market down. That's why the jobs number yesterday, the revision in jobs number, brought the market down. But then when it said, hey, we might reduce in September, but the economy's good, again, that kind of boosted the market. So you're in this kind of middle play. And yes, it's confusing for even the best analyst out there. Not everybody's Tom Lee who says, IWM's going to triple by the end of the summer. Not everybody's into that. So again, you've got to make sure what is in your mind. Don't sleep on XLU. The XLU bounce, like we talked about at the beginning of the year. This is from Seeking Alpha. And again, if you have Seeking Alpha, if you don't have Seeking Alpha, you can get it. You click on this second link. It's $25 off your membership, free 7-day trial. But this screenshot right here is from Seeking Alpha, okay? Technology, year to date, up 17%. Communication services, XLC, up 20%. Okay, financial services, XLF, up 16%. Industrials up 12%. Consumer staples up 13%. Healthcare is up 13%. Healthcare was lagging. You know what else was lagging at the beginning of the year? It was utilities. XLU. We talked about how XLU is at the bottom of this channel, how it needed. It has now come up to be the second leading sector year to date. Okay, over 1 month, you're up 7%. Energy is down 3% over 1 month. It's only up 5% year to date. Energy names, I'm not exposed to energy names as much as I was. I just sold Occidental Petroleum. There's a lot of chatter about Occidental Petroleum being out of Warren Buffett's portfolio, in Warren Buffett's portfolio, and not really doing anything. But Berkshire hit a 52-week high, an all-time high, I think. So again, understand that I don't think that this XLU thing is done. I think with power, you're going to have the utilities. Well, what do you want to do? You can go over here to Seeking Alpha and you type in XLU. And let's see what the leading stocks are in XLU. You just go to holdings. The momentum's an A. The quant gives it a buy. NextEra Energy. This one is probably one of the best utilities out there. The quant says hold. Wall Street says buy. Now, this has been 18% up 1 year. Now, let's take a look at the quant. The quant has had as a buy when it was down in the 60s. It's at 79 right now. When you look at Wall Street and they say it's a buy, we can take a look at it. 23 analysts, okay? It's split across the board. 7 hold, 7 buy, and 8 strong buy. 1 is a strong sell. What's the average price target? $82. That's not a big enough gap for me to say, okay, I'll buy it. you may want to buy one of the other beaten down sectors, but use that sector map as a guide. Use it as a guide. XLK, one of the things that, this one in particular, risk reversal, I'll put this in the newsletter. The newsletter's free. It's at dailystockpick.substack.com. You can get it for free during the week, and I'll include this clip in that one. And this clip is the exact reason why I want to hold single stocks, and it's just really good. Even the Qs, it makes sense to hold single stocks. Well, single stocks or sectors, whichever one you want. I think I think it's a great clip to watch because Dan Niles, I've posted about his Twitter before. He's a great one. Yesterday, let's talk about some of the stocks. Went over Uber. Uber got an upgrade to strong buy. Now, when you sign up for Seeking Alpha, you import your portfolio. You can sign up for the Savvy Trader portfolio here at this is the core portfolio at Savvy Trader. You can track these stocks. I have this imported into Seeking Alpha Premium so that I can look at these stocks. We can take a look. It's 35 positions. 35 positions. Okay, we can compare the performance against the Qs. Because the Qs, again, do you want sectors? Do you want individual stocks? You want to compare yourself against an index? And Savvy Trader allows you to do this. Well, the Qs are up 17% this year. This daily stock pick core portfolio is up 34% this year. Okay, that's just year to date. But again, you can follow it. I've got this portfolio loaded into Seeking Alpha, and Uber got an upgrade. Uber got an upgrade from a hold to a strong buy. Hold to a strong buy. It's up 0.27. I sold out at 70. I see it freezing up. Okay, am I still on? I think it's buffering. Stopping recording. Okay, so I gotta wait. There's something going on with the recording, I think. There we go. Let me see if play it. Yeah, it froze up. Okay. We're going to quit the QuickTime. Okay, let me do settings. I think for some reason, output. I think the recording is messing up. 160, streaming. Okay. I think I may have to go down to 30 frames per second. Streaming. It's just the computer slowing down. Down to. Okay. Apply. Boom. Okay. My camera freezing again. Okay. Let me hit record again. Okay, camera was freezing. I got that word, so we mixed this in. Uber. Here's the Uber. Buy in at 65. Algorithm makes you 66%. The actual performance chart, it makes you 128% to buy and hold. I, in particular, sold this one at 70. I wasn't 100% sure that this one was going to actually move up, so I sold it. Just my mistake. But it's a strong buy now in the quant. The only issue is the valuation. The valuation, when you take a look at it, It's based on, even the PEG ratio going forward is fine. It's under 1, but they're going to need to continue to grow. So again, when you import your portfolio into Seeking Alpha, it gets in there. Now let's talk about semis. Oh, one that I want to bring up, MHO. MHO that I brought up prior to actually recording the podcast. We brought that up and I said, boy, this looks good. And it's MI Homes and the symbol is MHO. The algorithm bought you in here at 148. You were trading yesterday. You opened up at 150. I said, the difference between 148 and 150 isn't horrible. It's now at 154. So you had a nice little run up yesterday. In pre-market, you're at 153.54. The MACD is low enough below the oscillator. The RSI is a little bit extended at 61. But when you look at the weekly on this one, it does look like we pulled it back a little bit after their earnings. But again, we all know any reaction to earnings is an overreaction. So the downside, you might be going back to 173. Now, let's take a look at MHO because it's an alpha pick. Now, if you want picks like this, again, the third link on Linktree, linktr.ee/daily stock pick. It's down here. Third link, alpha picks. Want to beat the S&P? It will take you to this page. You get $50 off. It is a portfolio. You get a stock on the 1st and the 15th of each month, and they tell you when to sell. They just told you to sell Meta. They live by strict rules about the quant, and you get access on day 1 to all of it. If you don't know how to invest in fundamentals, you have 2 choices. You can get Seeking Alpha Premium, or you can just get hand-fed this portfolio. And part of this portfolio is MHO. When we go to MHO and we look at it, it's a strong buy. Seeking Alpha analysts say it's a sell. When you take a look at this, the PEG ratio, they don't have a forward PEG ratio, but it's 1.16. It's not horrible. This is a home builder, consumer discretionary. It's ranked number 4 out of 24 in their sector. The valuation's not bad. Look at the PE. It's 8.4. It's a strong buy in the quant. You look at the growth. It's a C. Their revenue's not growing, but their free cash flow, their working capital growth, 13%. CapEx growth, 7%. Now, levered free cash flow, they're using their money to grow, down 62%. So could be, when you look at Wall Street and we look at this one, $154. The price target on this one from Wall Street is $182. Be very careful with that price target. Yes, it looks juicy, but there's 2 analysts covering this. There's only 2. So take it with a grain of salt. They've run this one up as we've gone there. I would say probably 150 is not a bad one. If you want to go to 170, from 150 to 170, this might not be a bad one to actually look at. If we look at other ones in this sector, you can see KB Homes, number 1, Green Brick Partners, number 2, Meritage Homes, number 3. So I took on MHO. Now, semis, this one's an interesting one. This is from Trendspider. Okay, Trendspider has these charts on the semis. Is it fireworks tomorrow? NVIDIA, AMD, Micron, LRCX, SMCI, and Qualcomm. Again, they've been setting up. That's a whole lot of semiconductor stocks that stayed inside and closed green. Inside candle and closed green. That's usually pretty good. And we're 1 week away. This was a great, if you want to watch just Jensen Huang being Jensen Huang, this is how he's going to be on the earnings call next week. This is Jensen Huang being Jensen Huang. Shit's freezing up. Stream. I can't do any. can't reduce the amount of memory that this one's sucking up. I'll have to work on it. I'll probably have to do downgrade to 720p. No. Okay. Let me just continue. If I do freeze up, my apologies. It's recording okay. It's recording a little bit frozen. Kind of sucks, but oh well. I'll be better. I will be better. Even my on screen is a little bit delayed. Diesel mic. I'll look at that after I'm done recording. So let's see where we are with NVIDIA. NVIDIA on the chart, and I do realize my camera is freezing, so my apologies about that. I'll fix that in tomorrow's, but NVIDIA chart, it will all be in the newsletter, so don't feel like you're missing out on anything. Everything's going to be in the newsletter. You can follow along. You can literally just scroll up and down as I go through this on my newsletter. You can scroll up and down and see the charts that I include, or get your own charting system. Exactly, what you need to do. NVIDIA, the MACD crossing over, looks like it's moving down a little bit. We talked about 130 being a resistance level, putting up a little bit of resistance up there at 130 again until we get to earnings next week. Lord knows what the earnings are going to tell us. But when we look at a weekly chart on this one, it still looks extended, even though, again, I point out the weekly times when it's gone under that 9 and 21 in the past, it's been a good sign, but we're just going straight up. The MACD still super high. The RSI has come back down to reasonable levels at 67. Still not great. Reasonable levels, I say. But again, this is Jensen Huang being Jensen Huang. So if you want to take a look at that, that is what that is. FYI, Palantir's CEO came out. I don't know if this is old news. I just heard it. I didn't know he was going to take a stance like this. He came out, he said he's voting for Harris for president. So, I don't know if that changes your investment thesis. This is a government contractor. He's voting for Harris for president. Donald Trump may take some revenge because we know the revenge tactic is a tactic that he loves. But he may take a revenge tactic. He's never been, the Palantir CEO, Karp, has never been shy. I like him a lot. Honest to God, I like him a lot. The beauty of this, though, is that Palantir's main funder is Peter Thiel, who's a huge Trump supporter. So what's nice about this is, Karp feels free to put out his political stuff. I just like this company more and more. The valuation's the only thing that's the problem. It is in the core portfolio. It does have a great record of just buy and hold. So I like this. Let's talk about Schwab. So what I did was I went over to FinViz, and every morning I'd take a look at this and I say, okay, where are the big sales and stuff? And Schwab had a huge sale of $1.3 billion proposed sale. Huge sale. So I went over to Seeking Alpha and I took a look at some of the news because it said read the notes. And it's this TD Bank Group. Okay. They took a provision of $2.6 billion in order to pay for a bank secrecy anti-money laundering program. The U.S. authorities have them. So it's a fine. It's a fine. TD said it sold 40.5 million shares of Schwab common stock, reducing its ownership to 10.1% from 12.3%. The bank has agreed not to sell any more Schwab shares for 45 days and has no intention of divesting additional shares. Bloomberg reported that TD is offering the shares at $61.35 and $62.65 each, which will result in proceeds of $2. That means that Schwab is capped at that $63. Until this sale gets through and is in there, it's capped at $63. I would expect that it moves up after this. I like this bank. Again, I think it's an $80 stock. We've seen it right before their last earnings, it was here at 75. It got up to 80 in the in May, and then it's been down. I think this move down is just an opportunity for you to get in, wait for confirmation. Right now, the algorithm has you in at 63, but it looks like the MACD is going to close down. You're going to get a better opportunity to buy this, I think. Now, the algorithm makes you 37% over 2 years on this versus losing 13% over 2 years. Your average win, 9%. So again, the algorithm works on this one. I like this. Now, let's talk about Snowflake. Snowflake earnings, I have this one. It was a good quarter. It was a good quarter. The problem was 30% growth year over year. They raised guidance. It was good. Not good enough. The margin erosion was bad. So let's take a look at where Snowflake is going to open because it's going to be down significantly. Again, I have a very small position in this, and it's about 180 was the price. You're trading at 120 right now. It was a good quarter. But again, the valuation is really bad on this. Now, this candle right here, the low is 107, which means recently you could go as the low as 107. But the quarter was good. The issue is the valuation. While it was a good quarter, you're down 10% in pre-market. You're down 10%, in the actual market because the market's opened. Snowflake right here down 10%. It's the margin. The valuation right here, it's a D. And you know, I went over this before. They had to blow it out of the water because the PE is at 148. That's just too big. When you look at the growth, they have to grow. It's not enough. It's not enough. So again, they went over how a lot of this wasn't their fault, blah, 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 the whole thing. It's just interesting. It's just interesting. I'm, at some point, I'm probably cutting my ties on this one and just waiting for a better entry. But with the 4 hour, I want to make sure that I'm just doing it smartly just based on those things. But it's not a huge position. Again, it's a very small position. You see that gap up there between 124 and 129. You can probably trade it. The algorithm had you in at 121. You're trading at 120. So it's not a horrible thing if you bought based on the algorithm. It is a horrible thing if you bought based on the algorithm over the past 2 years because it does lose you 49%. So again, I think this slide down is indicative of, hey, we're in a weak stock in this one. This is the reason why I took this one out of the core portfolio and put Palantir in. I think Palantir was a bigger winner. It was very clear over the past, year and a half since I took Snowflake out of the core portfolio. Just FYI, Bitcoin, it reached its fear and greed index hit recently, fear. Typically when that does happen, levels, we reached a bottom in the price. Bitcoin is up over 60%. Again, Bitcoin's up over 60%. What I found funny was yesterday, McDonald's Instagram was hacked, where it pumped and dumped Solana with the Grimace coin. Okay? These people pump and dumped the Grimace coin to make $700,000. $700,000 in a matter of minutes. This is from 8:15 to 8:17. They hacked it. They said the Grimace coin was going to be huge, blah, blah, blah. They hacked it to make $700,000. Don't be one of these people. If you have money and you're going to buy Grimace coin, just make sure you know what you're buying into. But Bitcoin is up over 60,000 again. I like it. Let's see. Michael from Instagram. Hey, Gary, thanks for the awesome podcast. Was wondering if you could compare Zscaler and CYBR. And what's your opinions of Zacks rankings? I think Zacks rankings is the same as most of the other ones. I think they're okay. Look at the performance. I was never a fan of Zacks. So when I was reading FinViz, I was never a fan of Zacks. It always seemed like it pumped the cheap ones and never did the other ones. But let's see, CYBR, CyberArk Software, and Zscaler. I don't know anything about these companies. Let's just compare them. I mean, here you go. 1 year, Cyber's up 81%. Zscaler's up 40%. I would take, cyber. If you hit a time machine, I take cyber. I don't know anything about these other ones. We can look at Zscaler, their peers. Is cyber even in here? Let's see. Cyber's not even, it's at the end. Okay, it's at the end. So we'll take a look at Zscaler, CrowdStrike, PanW, Fortinet, Checkpoint Software. You can look at these ones, okay? Price return. Let's look at total return. Let's see if the chart will redo it. There you go. Total return over 1 year. It looks like cyber is up 82%. That's the big winner. That's the big winner. It's a strong buy. Cyber's a strong buy in the quant. It's a strong buy from Wall Street in the quant. Zscaler is a strong buy. It's ranked number 2 of 46. Cyber's number 48. And again, these are just quant ratings. So you can take a look at the quant rating of the two. I do own PanW and I own CrowdStrike. My dad owns Fortinet. So I don't own Zscaler. I don't own Cyber. When you take a look at their PE, their valuations, Zscaler 66, Cyber's 122. When you look at the PEG ratio, Cyber doesn't have one. Doesn't look like Zscaler has one either, so I can't do it on that. Revenue growth year over year, Cyber's 30%, Zscaler's 37%. I mean, Zscaler looks like the value play on this one. Gross margins, Zscaler's 77%, Cyber's 80%. So 1 month performance, look at, Zscaler's got some up and downs. Cyber's just straight up. So, again, if you want the value play, I think Zscaler's it. If you want the actual momentum play, I think Cyber's it. But other than that, I don't know anything about it. Cybersecurity, I don't think you can go wrong in any of these. CrowdStrike, PanW, Fortinet, Cyber, or Zscaler. Checkpoint, I know nothing about, but I don't think you can go wrong on any of these. A comment from the newsletter yesterday. Chris, outside of 2 recent buys you've gone over, Dell and GM, this looks juicy for September Q4. Have you reviewed Duolingo recently? I haven't. Here is his chart from TradingView. I don't think this tells me much at all. It's just a chart. TradingView, it doesn't have moving averages. I don't want a free 30-day trial. This doesn't tell me a hell of a lot. This doesn't, if you're looking at this chart and this is what you're basing your trade on, I don't know exactly. The MACD's up here. I don't know what the blue, oh God. This is why I want a Trendspider. Ugh. TradingView just had ugly charts. But I did reply to Chris that I watched this video and I haven't watched it all the way through, but I've changed my mind on Duolingo. Duolingo rakes in $500 million a year with 80% of its users that don't pay. So I haven't changed my mind on the valuation of Duolingo, but I have changed my mind on they've got a ton of users that if they could turn into paying customers, it could be a huge boost for the stock. Now, over 2 years, my algorithm makes you 104% in this. You make 97% buying and holding. So it's not a bad one, buying and holding. Just got you in here at 169. Boy, don't you wish you bought, because it's at 211. You've got a gap up here to 243. I have not gone over this one, but based on that Wall Street, and I'll include that in the newsletter, but based on that, I would say that this one does look juicy. It does. It interests me. But the valuation of Duolingo, when we go and look at it, it's it's a little bit stretched. When you look at some of these big movers that have done great things, they always seem a little bit stressed from valuation. But, Stuart and I were talking about, from Fidelity. Valuation may not mean that much anymore because, again, stocks trade so quickly. When you look at the quant, it's a hold, and it's based on valuation. That's the only one where it's based on. Again, a hold is based on the valuation. They don't have the PEG value, so they don't put growth forward. When you look at profitability, it's an A because their margins are 73%. When you look at growth, their revenues year over year, 43%. The sector is going up at 2%. So again, it looks good. It looks juicy from a chart standpoint. And it's got that gap up there on the 4 hour, and the 4 hour does provide you a good return. So I agree with you, Chris. It does look juicy. Does it fit into something that I'm going to look at? No. This would be 100% a trade for me, not an investment, because it just doesn't fit my profile of big cap tech. So outside of that, that's what I was looking at. Now, AJ, Mara looks like it's resetting right as Bitcoin jumps from 58 to 61,000. Bought it at 1580, going to add to it today. I wrote back to AJ. That's a comment on Substack again in the chat. I wrote to AJ, I think the Bitcoin miners have changed. And I think trading the Bitcoin miners is still okay. But you've got to understand, I don't think the volatility continues in this name. And the reason I say that is I think they now have moved from trading with Bitcoin to actually trading on their own. And that's something that you don't want if you're trying to trade Bitcoin around the miners. And so here's a year-to-date return of Mara versus Bitcoin versus IBIT. Bitcoin is up 37%. IBIT, which is an ETF, is up 31%. Mara is down 24%. And you can see Mara has gone down significantly more than Bitcoin or IBIT during this time when Bitcoin went down. I think they need to turn into a power play for AI. And we went over that before. But I think that's where Mara and the other Bitcoin miners play. I think you can trade it. And obviously, if you're in at 1580 and you're at 1750 today, you're doing really well. Again, 1590 was the algorithm buy-in. So I'd play it out. Here's the thing. The algorithm makes you 65% over 2.5 months, or 24.5 months. You only win 34% of the time, but your average win is 31%. That's where Mara gets you. So if you're trading the algorithm, you wait for that. You have confirmation. You make 65%. If you bought Mara and just held it 2 years ago, you're down 2%. So I don't think it's a bad one to trade. Just to understand, I do think that it might have changed. It might have changed. And that's all I'm pointing out. Now, scans. This is where my 4-hour algorithm gets you in. I include the scans every day in the newsletter. These are bullish stocks. So if you just pull up the newsletter and you just scroll down to the bottom, there are scans and they're broken up into different sectors, different things. The main one is the top one. Those are individual stocks. Then there's income ETFs, energy, leveraged ETFs. There's Bitcoin and crypto today because we did get a cross up there. You've got J&J, ADP, O'Reilly, AEP, and one that I want to bring up that's interesting is AT&T. And the reason I bring up AT&T, it's been dead money for 30, 40 years. This is not a stock that you've wanted to own over that time. But recently, it's gotten a run up. And my belief is it's gotten a run up because rates will get reduced. This has a forward yield of about 5%. When this one's running up and the rates are coming down from 5%, people will load into this for that dividend. And I think the dividend is what you want to invest in this one. But I don't know that it's got a huge enough turnaround that you could actually buy it. Because again, look at the past couple of times on the weekly, back here in 2019 and back here in 2021, where it crossed up on the 200-day. The 200-day never turned positive. The 50-day did turn positive during that run. It did turn positive during this current run. You do have confirmation, but you want to be careful. The RSI is at 66. If you had seen this one when it was trading at 17, great. The 5% dividend, you've been paid it. And you got this nice run up. But I wanted to point this out because again, because the dividend is so critical to this, you could probably get into this while the rates are falling. So my apologies for the camera freezing if you're watching. I don't think the audio was specifically affected, but it does freeze. I'm going to fix it today. I don't exactly know what happened with OBS, but I'm going to fix it. I appreciate you putting up with the technical difficulties. Again, if you have any questions, hit me up. Everything's here on Linktree. You can buy it. I was playing with Webull yesterday. I love that app. I love, that took the place of my sports betting. The Savvy Trader stuff, it's all here. Okay. I'll talk to you tomorrow. See you. Bye. Okay. I think now that I'm not recording, I think it'll come back. I don't think it's going to freeze. I think it's the recording plus the plus the streaming. I think it's just maxing out the memory on this computer. I think when OBS went with their update, which screwed up the tile picture, the thumbnail, which meant I couldn't get on, and they did some other things. I think that the actual program is just too much. Okay, there now. It's done recording. I should be back to normal. Maybe not. No. Do. Oh, let me look. Mike is probably a hype play. Tempest AI. Oh, it's an IPO. Yeah, it's an IPO. Your guess is as good as mine. They had earnings, I guess. You put AI in the name and you IPO it. Oh, it's medical. Yeah. Let's see, 9 analysts. They have a price target of 46. Trade it. Trade it, Mike. Donnie, Walmart's just buy and hold Walmart. Just buy and hold it. I mean, I think I've had Walmart for 15, 20 years. Dude. Walmart's just buy and hold. I mean, Walmart from Wall Street standpoint, I think it's 80, 79, 80. He's still 5% up. Dang. Dude. Okay. I still like Snow, but my 180's not looking like a great buy. Uh, 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 uh. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I hope it turns out well. I don't know. I mean, I think now that I'm not recording, I think it's good. Yeah. I think I've got to check with the memory on this. The memory on this is bad. So. Ooh. Wow. Oh, studio mode is getting it ready. Mark, you can trade Intel. Am I getting into it? No. The answer is no. But you can trade it. I mean, you know, the algorithm has a buy at 1948. I don't particularly find anything interesting about it. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Chris says, just Gelsinger to me is just empty promises. You know, you can trade it all you want, but it's not something. I would not get into Intel thinking, oh my God, they're going to, you know, kill it on this foundry business. Because the foundry business has been empty, you know, the actual chip business has been empty promises too. He hasn't run that chip business well at all. So what makes you think he's going to run the foundry business well? You know, they just got a ton of money from the government. It's going to make anybody, you know, build out because they get a ton of money. The foundry business will be fine. They'll make chips, but can they compete with Taiwan Semi? Or is Taiwan Semi just going to bring their technology over to the US, grab the money, and just blow Intel away? It's probably going to be the same thing as what they've done with, you know, AMD and others. They're going to lose that battle. They just don't have good, solid fundamentals. So you can trade it all you want. Would I get into it? No. Why would I get into Intel? Why in the world would I get into Intel when I could buy NVIDIA? Why? I mean, you could buy Qualcomm. Why would I get into NVIDIA when you could buy AMD? I mean, you know, again, you could trade this one all you want, but as far as like a long-term investment, hell no. Hell no. Hell no. I wouldn't get into that. Mike, thank you so much for the monitor. I'm going to take a look at those because again, I think my laptop will run this OBS stuff. No problem whatsoever. Let's see. Index check, and then I'm going to run. Wow. I'm up 0.5% in my portfolio. The index Qs is up 0.33. So, okay. With that, I will play the exit intro out. So, stay tuned in for a little song, a little enjoyment for your early afternoon. Go and take a lunch break, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.
Stop day trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears.
Oh, just a little, I'm going to change it to an outro, but you're going to see intro. So enjoy the song.
Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears.